The Tillamook Factory is free with tons of tasty samples. Look, I'm just gonna say it, I entered this experience biased. I love Tillamook. They have the best ice cream cartons at any grocery store, and it's not even close. Fun fact about your Scoutmaster, I once ran an ice cream review blog for my friends in the dog club. You can see that Tillamook is proudly represented. If you're unfamiliar with this brand, my guess is it's a West Coast exclusive. In California, we have a few ice cream varieties, but I was blown away by the sheer quantity that's out there in Oregon. It makes sense though, right? The farther you move away, the less likely your dairy goods are to be fresh. They must sell it as far out as Texas because in 2010, the Love Loaf Tour had Tillamook drive around 9 different states in sharp orange Volkswagens, and Texas was their final eastward stop. If you have Tillamook in your area, let me know in the comments. I'm actually kind of curious about this. Anyway, the Tillamook Factory is in Oregon. It's right off the 101 freeway, and it features guided tours, but you can also just walk in. Totally free, no purchase necessary. That's what I ended up doing. The cool thing about the factory is how open and transparent the process is. There is a ton of history I learned too. The Tillamook Company is named after the Tillamook region in Oregon. Obvious, right? This county has over 170 years of dairy farming history, but their first breakthrough in cheese making took place in 1894. That's when Peter McIntosh immigrated from Canada. He was known as the Cheese King of the Coast, who shared his expertise and managed the first dairy factories in the area. It was claimed that his cheese was as valuable as gold, and this sort of quality still exists in Tillamook today. Part of the experience at the factory includes free samples of cheese, and there are plenty you can grab. They were all tasty, but I especially loved the mild cheddar. Fun fact, this exact Tillamook flavor won first place at the 2010 World Cheese Fair in Wisconsin. I'm talking 99.6 out of 100, and in Wisconsin, you know, the land of literal cheese heads. Those are some impressive stats. Again, you can see firsthand how Tillamook cheese is made here in the factory. It starts with fresh milk from farmers that gets pasteurized. That's a fancy way of saying they heat the milk to kill the bad bacteria while also maintaining the milk's flavor and its nutrients. They then curdle the milk. Enzymes get added to the liquid, which causes it to harden. When the curds get cut and stirred, they release whey, which is a liquid that needs to be drained. The Tillamook workers then shape the dry curds into wheels by pressing them into molds. This helps release moisture to make the cheese more dense and firm. Finally, the cheese wheels are aged in carefully controlled environments. This is what differentiates the different kinds of flavors like mild or sharp cheddars. Aging can be as short as 3 months, or it can take as long as 5 years. And Tillamook does not speed up the process at all. It's entirely natural, nothing artificial. In fact, they claim to not use any artificial ingredients whatsoever. And when it comes to cheese blocks, the industry standard is apparently 640 pounds because I guess they're easier to manage, but Tillamook opts instead for 40-pound blocks. They call them mother loaves, and while this approach is more time-consuming, the trade-off is much better quality control. Take these fried cheese curds for example. They're packed with so much flavor, and they get even better when you combo them in cheese dip. If you think doubling down on cheese is a lot, you'd be right, but the sheer quality is what makes these fried curds so great. But like I said earlier, I mostly know Tillamook for its incredible ice cream. This was less on display from what I could see, but they break down the process very clearly on their YouTube channel. Tillamook starts with a formula. That's a precise combination of cream, milk, and sugars to get the perfect ice cream base. Like cheese, the next step is to pasteurize the mixture. A little heat goes a long way, and that helps the mixture homogenize, which is a fancy way of saying it gets whipped up into something more smooth and consistent and less ice crystal-y. This liquid blend then gets frozen while still being churned. That's part of the fancy machinery. Finally, any special flavors get infused like ribbons of caramel or chunks of pecan. Did you know that Tillamook has a dedicated sensory department for their final step? That's right, a team of professionals slice cartons with hot knives to make sure the mixtures aren't clumped together. They want every scoop of ice cream to be perfectly consistent, and I'm here for it. Quality is truly the Tillamook way. Their in-house ice cream store has a variety of flavors. I had the campfire peanut butter flavor because, hello, that's my theme. I'm Scoutmaster Demi, and I also have a second channel all about retro Nintendo games. Nice to meet you. I also went out with chocolate waffle cones that were coated in sprinkles, and I fit it all in a souvenir Tillamook sundae bowl. I was pleased as a grass-fed cow, and speaking of, did you know that the Tillamook mascot used to be this cute little Tilly? When you enter the gift shop, you'll see tons of different cow plushies. My favorite had a Tillamook ribbon, but I also love these, well, I guess they're kind of like handbag purses with a plushie sewed on. I love the rancher bandana design too. I have plenty of plushies in my life already, but if I were a dad or an uncle, I'd absolutely buy one. And not too far from the cute stuff is the good stuff. Rows and rows of every flavor you can imagine, from cheese to ice cream. The most clever thing you could buy to me were candles that are shaped like milk bottles. Wow. You might know that I rate things based on how much they cost. That's the only thing that makes fair sense to me. At the whopping price of free, I rate the Tillamook Factory 4 out of 5 pine cones. It was a fun experience full of tasty samples and restaurant quality food alike. It's not a massive area, but the exhibits are high quality and the workers are so friendly. It really makes you think that Tillamook is as farmer driven and ethical as the co-op claims to be. And you know what? Thank you, farmers, for the high-quality milk that makes Tillamook cheese and ice cream possible. This was part of my road trip across the entire 101 Freeway. Check out our other videos on this amazing journey. And look, I'm not sponsored by Tillamook, but man, I'd really love to be. I hope you'll consider subscribing and help support our channel. I'm Scoutmaster Demi, and I'll see you next time, Scouts.